My people, this one is the part 2 of the message I just posted some couple of minutes ago. This is a continuation. Please continue listening to the history, how we throw away the country that's supposed to be our country to the dogs, to the Fulanis, to the people who knows nothing about this country. Now they are claiming the ownership of this country. Anyway, please continue watching. Make sure you like, share, comment, and make sure you keep subscribing to this channel for more interesting videos. This one is a history that nobody's supposed to skip. Make sure you watch it to the end. A lot of wisdoms and a lot of things, a lot of lessons to learn from it. And make sure you teach this history to your future generation. Hashtag Biafran Mass Exodus 2024 and hashtag kudos to BG, Biafra Republic Government in Exile. Continue watching and make sure you did not skip this video. Oh yeah, let us go there.
Fajui narrative is not the real story.
I would say it is the story or it is in the story. I am saying that I interviewed many people who were there and that account was not related to me. Let me just tell you, when this book came out, I sent it to General Danjuma. I sent it to General Gowan. I said, controvert this book. 23 years ago, this one is a new edition, updated. Up to today, none of them has contradicted the contents of this. In fact, I haven't seen any line in this book contradicted by anybody. Because I knew it was a serious project, I didn't want to joke with it. I stated only those things that I found in my research.
And Chukwusido Egbunam wrote this book as a journalist.
Yes, I'm a journalist, I'm a writer too.
Yeah.
You know, there's a slight difference between the two, journalism and writing, but it's writing is writing, yes.
You worked with the News Watch.
I did.
You worked with the Guardian.
I did.
How did your journalism career help you in writing this book?
Well, it helped me in the sense of trying to extract facts. You know, as a journalist, you ask questions. The way you are probing now, almost cross-examining me. That's the job as a journalist. It helps you to go for the truth, to know what the kind of facts you want to extract. It helped me in that respect, one. Two, it also helped me in the art of writing. If you're a journalist and you are writing on a report on a daily basis, writing becomes easy. So you don't have to spend 1 hour writing anything. You could finish it in 10 minutes because writing is no longer a difficulty for it. It's part of your life. It's just like the pilot. The pilot is flying every day from Lagos to Abuja. It's easy for him because he knows it. So that's what journalism helped me to know how to interrogate issues and then how to write them. In a sense, journalism had even prepared my mind because I knew a lot of contemporary Nigerian history even before I started writing the book.
And you filled the gap.
Yes.
With this book.
Yes.
Because there was no biographical account, a broad biographical account on Ironsi.
Nobody wrote anything about the man. All they said that he was a drunkard, he was sipping whiskey and nothing more than that. But I discovered that contrary to that nonsense, that lie, the man was a serious man. He went into the army as an ordinary rank, recruit. After the Civil War, he was found with enough competence to go for officer training. And he went there and he kept being promoted after exams under white colonial rule, not under black officers. So, how was it?
You spoke with his sister to write this book?
Yes, I spoke with the sister.
The sister was like a mom to him.
The sister was something of a mother to him because she was much older, The sister was the one who was married to the Sierra Leonean, and they lived in Kano. The one was an officer, a civil servant.
And Ironsi joined the army in Kano?
Yes, he did, in Kano.
And the sister protested?
His sister said, no, you couldn't go and join the army when we are finding you a job at the UAC. And he said, well, I've already registered and enlisted and I've got my number, so it can't be changed again.
Ironsi was from Umuahia.
Yes, he was. Umuana Ndume in Umuahia Ibiku.
I want you to interrogate this part of Ironsi's life. Before he took over, there was Nwafo Orizu, who was in charge after Balewa was killed. Nwafo Orizu was an Igbo man. At some point, members of the Northern People's Congress wanted a new leader, but Orizu would not take that. Can we say Orizu was more comfortable with an Igbo man taking over than giving power again to the North? Because he somewhat resisted every attempt to appoint an acting prime minister.
I don't know where you read those from. I'm not saying that those weren't written wherever. All I'm saying is that when Ironsi and his forces aggregated the politicians and had a meeting with them, it was already a fait accompli. A lot of them were in hiding. Those of them who were there, they signed the document handing over power to the military.
Did they sign under duress?
No, they did not.
Remember, a military officer was in that meeting.
Well, hold on. The way it happened, and I interviewed what's this man's name again? The first Northern SAN. The man came from Ilori, but he grew up, he was born in Onitsha, he grew up in Onitsha. So he spoke Igbo like another person. That's why he went to school. What's his name now? Well, the man said Ironsi was addressing them. And they said we needed the authority to take over power because things, water don't pass Gary, things are spoiled. They were prepared to sign, and the man, Abdulrazak, Alhaji Abdulrazak, first Northern Nigerian senior advocate of Nigeria. And the man said, this thing cannot be a verbal, It's better that we write and sign one by one. There was no paper. He brought out paper there, and they wrote that document, and they all appended their signature to it. This is the truth of what happened.
Including Ozumba Mbadiwe?
Everybody who was there signed that.
Why was Mbadiwe so interested in how he looked? Because the way he rushed into that meeting without a cap.
No, it wasn't because you will say, why was he so disinterested? Because the army troops come with their tires crunching on your hallway, and they come out, you are wanted at Parliament building. You will be remembering your cap.
But remember, before even the army officers came, he was wasting time trying to dress up.
When they had come to him.
Before they even came.
Well, if he was wasting time trying to dress up, he would have remembered in his time wasting to pick his cap. Yes, it was this man who told me, Chief Adero Gusoya, who told me the story. He was the person who went to go and pick him up.
Yeah.
And he was laughing. He said that when they rushed them back, the man forgot his cap. I remember that aspect of it.
Most people don't know about Mbadiwe. And there's a popular road in Lagos, Ozumba Mbadiwe Way.
Yes.
Even most Igbo young persons don't know much about him.
They don't know.
And when you mentioned him in the book, I smiled. But again, do you think the Igbo nation understand the power of history? Because it seems history is skewed against them.
You see, the Igbo people are a complex people. Answers to questions on them cannot be rendered with yeses and no's. You have to speak like lawyers on the one hand, on the other hand, before you get a proper answer that will be in perspective with the question thrown at you. The Igbo people have a sense of history. Otherwise, they will not be there. It is the history of their forefathers, their resilience, their hard work that made them to survive the Civil War, with everything destroyed, and with 20 pounds given to each of them, even if you had 20 million in the bank, and they bounced back. If you don't have a sense of purpose, a sense of history, which is a sense of you, a sense of history is a sense of you, your person. If they didn't have it, they couldn't have survived. So they do have it. Of course, you can talk about extraneous issues. If Rochas Okorocha behaved the way he did as governor of Imo State, did he know of Igbo history? If you have people who are prepared to sell off the ethnic group for a plot of land in Abuja, do they know the history of their people? Actually, those are valid questions to ask. But it's not the same thing as saying the people as a people, they have a sense of history.
Let's look at the fallout of the coups.
Yes.
It led to the Civil War.
Yes, it did.
Before the war, there was massive killing in northern region.
Yes.
Of persons of Igbo origin. Was it a pogrom?
Yes, it was genocidal. It's more than it was a genocide. I was in Kano. I lived in Kano then. In fact, I even lost my elder brother there. He had one of the best school certificate results in northern Nigeria, Igbo Union Grammar School. They killed him there at 18 years. You see what I mean? So it was genocide. You went killing people all over the place. And nobody has apologized for that up to next tomorrow.
Was the military part of the killing?
Oh, yes. I wrote it here in this book because General Danjuma became a later-day apologist, saying that under Buhari, the soldiers are attacking and killing people, and people should defend themselves. I reminded him in this book that that was what happened in 1966. Soldiers went to Sobongeri Kano, they call it Operation Wipeout, and killed any Igbo person that they found there that night. They did it May 29, June 29, July 29, September 29, and those who were traveling on the road, they were seizing them and killing them. In fact, Gowan said it, and it's quoted in this book. Gowan said the killings of the Igbo people have become unnecessary. It's in the book, he said it. That they should remember that after all, God in his infinite mercy has given back federal power to another northerner. Gowan said it, and Gowan is alive. Gowan, your man, if I can call him, Gowan was the person who said that the basis of unity did not exist in Nigeria.
How can Gowan be my man? I've not met him.
Okay, so Gowan said he may not be a man, as Yunus is my man, but Gowan said that there wasn't basis for unity in Nigeria. When he discovered what he had done, he tried to deny it, and they rewrote other things. They forgot that there's something called BBC monitoring. Anything you say for radio or any part of the world, BBC will capture it. Even once you broadcast it, they have it. Then when they unveil the original of his broadcast, it is still there. For a little fee, they will give it to you. He said there was no basis for unity in Nigeria.
So they were ready to break away.
That speech was a secession speech. He was going to proclaim the Republic of Northern Nigeria.
Who stopped him?
Mr. Matthews, the American ambassador, and Cumming Bruce, the British High Commissioner. You know what I did? I went to Kew Garden in London. It was part of the reasons why the book didn't appear originally, because I was looking for that vital information. You have to wait for about 25 years for materials to be declassified for you to have access to it. Then I went to Kew Gardens. I went to the vote of these British parliamentary records, and so the Honorable Minister said yes, that Gowan, another was going to succeed, and we dissuaded him and told him not to stay, not to succeed. He said the book, and he said, I'm just sorry for humankind. I'm sorry for Gowan, When I was chief of staff to Governor P2B, Gowon visited. He was moving around with his Nigeria praise. I was the person who received him. I was the person who put him in the hotel where he stayed. I was with him while we were chatting and everything. He encouraged me, said he was chief of staff at a much younger age than myself. It's not easy. I should do my best. I thanked him and everything. But there are many things about our society that he should have cleared the air about what has desisted from doing so. That is why he deserves to. It's good that God gave him longevity. The man is nearly 90 years. He has to come clean on all these matters and tell them what happened.
When you say come clean, you want him to write a book? Because there's the Gowon biography written by Eliago.
The Gowon biography written by Eliago, I read it, I quoted it in this book. He talked about Gowon biography is his whole life, his 9 years in power and everything. But the ones that are pertinent to Irancy, where he said that Gowon was the person who crushed the coup. That's a lie. It's not true. And I had to counter him there.
Did Igbo have to go to war?
Well, I think I said it from the outset that I'm not a man of violence. And where peace will do, there's no need to go to war. And if you go through history, most wars end up on the negotiation table at the end of the day, at the end of the fighting. That's one aspect of my answer to you, but I will give you another aspect of it. You sitting here now, and somebody comes in, punching you, kicking you, biting you, spitting upon you. He even has a dagger, which means that once it goes into your heart, your end has come. I will ask you to defend yourself. No people have been killed like Ndibo in Africa. Not even this thing that happened in Rwanda. This thing went on for many months. It went into the war. They kept bombing churches. They kept bombing markets. They kept bombing public squares. They said that salvation was a legitimate instrument of warfare. I always said it. I always said, all of them said it. They blockaded Biafra. Even if they didn't say it verbally, that's the meaning. And kids were dying from lack of nutrition.
It was war.
It was war. And then all those were people who got killed for things they knew nothing about.
Igbo wanted war, right? And they got war.
Who said Igbo wanted war? Did I say anything of the sort? Mm-hmm. I'm saying that if you are attacked, you should defend yourself. And you're telling me that Igbo wanted war. Was it Biafra that attacked Nigeria?
Nigeria attacked Biafra?
Yes, Nigeria attacked Biafra.
And Biafra defended itself?
Yes. Yes.
Was Biafra prepared for that war?
Biafra was, given the benefit of hindsight, that Biafra was unprepared.
Should Biafra have waited for the right time to go to war?
Yes, people suggested that would have been the best thing to do. You didn't go to war if the certainty of your defeat is there. Mm. You made peace. You see what I mean?
Will the Igbo nation go to war again?
I told you here that I'm not a prophet. But I can tell you that if you attacked any ethnic group in this society, even if made up of 20 people, by finish killing 19 of them, the 20th person may at least try to defend themselves.
Are Igbo people under attack in the present Nigeria?
Yes.
Who is attacking them?
The federal government is attacking them.
Tell me more.
Okay. The Southeast geopolitical zone was destabilized by Abuja.
How?
Well, it started with police stations being attacked. You go to some place like Imo State, they attack the police station. The military station is that of Obinze, they are just minutes away. Other military formations are there. They sack the prison. Nobody will do anything. All over the east.
Who was sacking the prisons, attacking the police stations?
Those people who were organized to attack those police stations and prisons were releasing prisons. That was where it started.
IPOB?
No, I'm not saying IPOB. I said those thugs who were attacking were doing all this. But the central point I'm making is that you can't have a government in place and they sack a police station today, no defense. They sack a second one tomorrow, no defense. They sack 10 police stations in the state, no defense.
Chief Iluagunam,
this thing
who was attacking the police station? Is it IPOB?
You asked me that question. I said yes, no. I don't attribute those attacks to them. The people who should have answered their question are the government functionaries who had the means and the wherewithal to counter those attacks. But that was leading to answering your question, the destabilization of the Southeast political zone. Okay. Now, when Buhari was military head of state, he organized with some ex-Israeli secret agents to go and kidnap Umar Diko in London and bring him back to this country. They kidnapped Umar Diko, they took him to Stansted Airport, they created him, dropped him, but the Scotland Yard Police Department, they found out and released the man. 30 years later, when he became civilian head of state, he went to Kenya and seized Nnamdi Kanu and brought him back here. That is at the heart of the instability in the country now. The Supreme Court has said, release this man. The Supreme Court is the highest judicial authority. If you released Nnamdi Kanu today, I tell you, the chances of peace returning will be 90%. Why? A lot of the disorder you see in the Southeast zone now is tied to sit at home.
Who ordered sit at home in the first place?
When it started, when it started, it was IPOB. Initially, at that time, nobody was forced to sit at home. People did it willingly, who liked. If you didn't like, you went your way, nobody disturbed you. Now, you have multiple voices ordering sit at homes. There's one fellow who is in Finland.
Simon Ekpa.
He orders sit at home. Sometimes say people should buy food stop and stay indoors for 2 weeks. Such ridiculous things. There are all kinds of names. Some of them nicknames. Ordering sit at home, sit at home, sit at home.
We accusing Nnamdi Kanu of instigating the crisis and the instability in the Southeast.
Then if you want to do that, you have the freedom to do that. You have the freedom to accuse any other person you like. But I'm not going to be party to that kind of antipathy. And that's not the way I function. I'm telling you, ask me a question, and I'm answering, Abuja destabilized the Southeast zone. They can stabilize it again by releasing this man who the Supreme Court said
he was released before. Did that bring peace to the Southeast?
After he was released, what happened?
What happened?
They went to his father's house and sacked the place, killed people and destroyed the whole place.
Before the father's house was sacked, what happened?
I don't know what happened. Tell me what happened. I'm not a tape recorder.
Because you live in the Southeast. You are a village man.
I don't live in Abia State.
But you
and whatever is in the news, if you are in Scotland, you will see, you will know it. If you are in South Africa, if you are in Bermuda, you will still know. So you will also know that.
I know Chuksule Gunam is a village man.
Yes, I am a village man.
He lives in the village.
I do.
You understand what goes on in the Southeast.
I understand what goes on in my village.
Your ears are on the ground.
Your ears are also on the ground. Are they not? Your ears are also on the ground.
So Tinubu releasing Nnamdi Kanu now. That is what you are saying.
Yes, because people who have similar charges like himself have been released. So where is in freedom back into the US? This other guy in the ATL there is in freedom and doing whatever is his business in northern Nigeria. And this man, the Supreme Court has said, release this man. So you have got to be told why they think that this man cannot be released. And let me make a final point why I'm saying this is. I believe that there will be some kind of order. Everybody claims to be IPOB. Everybody claims to be ESN. We don't know who is who because we are not members of their organization. But I'm saying that if you have Nnamdi Kanu out and he says, cease sit at homes. Any other alternate voice that comes in will be dealt with.
But he has said it from the courts.
They said they didn't believe him, that he wasn't the person who said it. It is not. They said they don't believe it, that he's under duress, that he's still in captivity. Bring him out.
And hopefully Tinubu will bring him out.
Yes, hopefully.
The Igbo nation is speaking up.
In fact, if I were the man, I won't wait for the Igbo nation to do the right thing. I will do the right thing and wait for them to applaud me if they like. If you have the right thing to do not wait to be told before you do the right thing.
You know, Chief Lebunam, what does the Igbo man want from Nigeria?
The Igbo man wants to be treated like a human being. The Igbo man wants to have the same basic rights that every other Nigerian enjoys. The Igbo man wants to be in freedom. The Igbo man doesn't want to hear that he cannot vote in Lagos. There are Yoruba and Igbo people in London winning electoral offices, even in the US.
But Igbo people are voting everywhere in Nigeria.
Didn't you see what happened during the last general elections? Didn't you hear about, you live in Ibadan, but didn't you know what was happening in Lagos? Didn't you see officials of this current government say that they should go back to the east? How can you say people should wait? There are millions of Yoruba people in Cote d'Ivoire. At least 5 million. They've been living there since the 30s. Nobody's chasing them away. They participate in every aspect of life. Why should you tell me that I can't live in Lagos? I can't use my money to buy a house in Lagos.
But Igbo people are living in Lagos.
Didn't you hear the clamor for them to leave?
Igbo people are buying houses in Lagos.
Didn't you hear that they bought up the whole of Lagos Island? As if they forced people
are thriving in Lagos till now.
I don't think you are following me.
I'm following you.
You are saying that Igbo people are thriving.
Yes.
It didn't occur to you that they are thriving because of their resilience, in spite of all the adversities put in their way, in spite of all the opposition. It's not because they know their history, they have their resilience, they know what's in their DNA that they are surviving and thriving.
Do you want an Igbo president?
I want a competent president. That is one question. I do not want a numbskull to become president of Nigeria simply because he's Igbo.
Do numbskulls govern the country?
Yes.
Have they governed Nigeria before?
If Nigeria were otherwise governed, we won't be in this mess that we are today. Look at we are in the mess now.
Who is a numbskull?
A numbskull is the person who don't get anything inside in brain power. You don't get brain power, that's a numbskull.
And they've been president of Nigeria?
Through time.
Is Peter Obi one of them?
He's never been president of this country.
Is he a numbskull?
No, how could he be? I was his chief of staff when he was governor of Anambra State. The man has grey matter in his head.
Tell me more.
I saw this man for the first time when Ojukwu came to Delta State to campaign for Abga. And I talked to him there, asked him a few questions, and I said, well, let's see how it goes. And I went to when the governorship election took place in Anambra State, Ngige was declared winner and sworn in as governor. I got convinced that Peter Obi won the election, and I started to campaign for him. By then I held a weekly column in the Vanguard every Tuesday. Samamuka, the owner of the publisher of Vanguard, he gave me the leeway, the license. Every week I was writing. The right thing should be done. Peter Obi went to court. After 3 years, he won. And he went into power. And then he achieved a lot there. UFCC never call him, say, come give account of how you spend the money. Up till next tomorrow. How many governors have got that kind of flag of support to wave?
What is his depth of mind like?
Let me tell you about that man. That guy has a multi-track mind. I worked with him for 3 years before he became governor. That is, campaigning for him to win his mandate. That's one point. I worked with him for the first 5 of his 80s before I went to the presidency. If P2B tells you to go and buy this book for him, he already knows the cost of the book. Before he gives you, maybe the money is, the cost is 5,000. He can give you 10,000 and say, I need this book very, very badly. Go and get it. Before you come back, you say, he bought it for 15,000. He might leave you, but he knows the cost of the book. If they will quote this, there was a time we were going to do adverts in Anambra State to welcome President Obasanjo, and they quoted figures. He laughed. He said, we'll continue this meeting tomorrow. He phoned advert people from Lagos. They flew in. I went to the airport in Enugu and brought them in. They brought receipts of advert billboards they posted last year, 2 years ago, 6 months ago, to say that it is not fabricated. And P2B said, look at this. That's the kind of person. If P2B was president of Nigeria, he will not give anybody 90 billion for pilgrimage when people are starving. He will not do that. Not even in his wildest dream. So he's a different kettle of fish.
The man Nigeria needs?
The kind of person Nigeria needs.
He contested in the presidential election.
Yes, he did.
In 2023.
He did.
You were part of that?
In what sense?
You wrote a biography.
I wrote his biography, yes, because people were telling lies about him. I said, not be this man who I know very well. Then I sat and I wrote his story so that people will see the truth. I wrote it.
That was a good campaign, right?
Why not?
Did he win?
Well, not even only that. I'm a media person, but I was sitting in my village and giving ideas. He won the election in my view.
He won?
Oh yes, in my view, he won. Fair and square.
How?
Didn't you see the anomalies of INEC? Didn't you see what their BVAC machines will work for governorship, it won't work for presidential? Didn't you see all the mutilated things? Is that how they contest elections?
Are you saying the election was rigged?
The election was more than the election was suffered a horrendous amputation of truth and fact. That's what I'm saying.
Peter Obi is the president Nigeria is yet to have?
Peter Obi is a president Nigeria could yet have. Yes.
Not Tinubu?
What do you mean by not that man? What do you mean by him?
Tinubu is not the right man to govern at this time?
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that the man who won the election is not in seat because those people who, negative forces, who had the forces of coercion, prevented justice to be done. That's all I said.
The Supreme Court certified Tinubu as the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
The Supreme Court also said that Nnamdi Kanu should be released.
So the Supreme Court is good?
The Supreme Court is good in what sense?
Nnamdi Kanu should be released.
Fine.
Tinubu won.
That's what they said. That's what. Wait. Let me tell you. Listen. The Supreme Court decides, and that decision is final.
Mm-hmm.
That does not mean that you can't have non-acceptance. It's just that your non-acceptance of a Supreme Court verdict is for your own mind alone and shouldn't go beyond that. That is what it means. It doesn't mean that the Supreme Court is infallible. After all, the Supreme Court made what's this man's name? This fellow in Imo State. Hope Uzodinma governor. Hope Uzodinma came forth in an election. All the records are there. Hope Uzodinma became governor of Imo State. And he's even still there. Is it not the Supreme Court that decided that? Should I accept it? In my mind, I didn't accept it, but I will not go and carry placard. I will not go and cause dissension or destruction. But you can't force a man what he will believe.
I will not round off this interview without you telling me about Chukwemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu. You knew him.
Yes, he was my friend.
Your friend?
Yes.
Tell me about your friend.
When I think about the man, I think about the ideal I have of the Igbo man. What is happening nowadays is that there are certain characters of Igbo origin who, when you give them $100,000, they will sell their father and sell their mother on top of that because of $100,000 or a plot of land in Abuja or oil block. In fact, nobody even gives them any oil block. That's too much to give to charlatans, people who they see as charlatans. But Ojukwu couldn't be bribed. He said and remained resolute that you can't kill my people like this. These are human beings, massacred across the country. Women with their stomachs ripped open and unborn children brought out. People decapitated. Have you seen the on-UK report on all those massacres? I have the proof. All those things happened there and nobody has apologized about that. You see? But Ojukwu said, no, you can't do that. It's a lesson that evil will always be opposed. And you see how it happened for him. When he died, he had somebody with some sense in power. I followed the burial through. He was giving state burial, not so.
Yeah.
And there was something he told his son, which most people didn't know. I was in P2B's government with his son, Emeka Odumegwu Ojukwu Jr. He said, before they close my casket, put a Biafran flag inside it. Emeka Jr. had all those military officers, everybody was there because he put that flag there.
He put it there.
Oh yes, quote me.
Ojukwu was buried with the Biafran flag?
Oh yes, in his casket.
Does that mean the burial of Biafra?
It means the signification of what Ojukwu believed in. That's what it means.
Does it mean that Biafra will come?
I told you from the outset of this interview that Chukwuemeka claims many things, but not prophecy. I'm not a prophet.
You can't project?
I can't project in directions that are aimed at causing stupefaction. I will not do that. I don't project to stupefaction, no.
So Ojukwu was buried with Biafra in his heart.
So you said that now yourself, so you've got the gist.
So that's the gist.
The gist.
So more Nnamdi Kanus will come.
If they like, they will come. But let me tell you something. You asked me here what Igbo want. I said they want to be treated like other Nigerians. Didn't you hear that guy they called Igbo? What's his first name? Who started to raise Yoruba agitation here before they seized him?
Sunday Igbo.
Because they felt marginalized. If you marginalize somebody being human, you say, why? That was what happened in South Africa. If you want to stop, listen, if you want to put a halt to separatist agitations, treat A the way you treat B, the way you treat C, the way you treat Z. Don't make this person a god and make this person a footstool.
Chief Ilebu, in this book you called for a new constitutional architecture.
Yes, I did.
So can you hit the nail on the head now?
Yes. The constitution we have today is General Abdulsalami Abubakar's constitution. In it, the opening sentence says, we the people. That's a lie now. When did the people meet to do that constitution? Where? Where did they meet to do that?
Should we go back to regionalism?
We should go back to federalism. True federalism, which is the same thing as regionalism. Listen, you could have federalism with 100 states. You could have federalism with 4 regions. Do you understand? Federalism talks about the evolution of power. You have those powers that are inherent in the regions or in the states. You have those powers that are residual and reside at the center. That is what it is. Federalism. You cannot have a situation. Let me tell you something. the security people guarding the governor of Lagos State and any other governor in this country are not taking orders from the governor. They are taking orders from the commander-in-chief. That's not federalism. Well, before, you used to have regional police forces. Even if you know you had Dansanda, then the local government police. Now, the police is one unit here. You've gone to America. In America, the New York Police Department is autonomous. LA Police, Massachusetts Police, any police force. Even if you go to England, Scotland Yard, London Metropolis, and very other places, Birmingham, in Scotland, any other place they have their independent police forces. But here, you just have one Inspector General of Police that is the whole country.
So you are calling for state police?
Yes. If we have state police in my state, in Anambra State, before I go from Onitsha to Oka, which is a journey of about, it shouldn't take me more than 30 minutes. You have 30 mobile police checkpoints, collecting money in front of everybody's eyes, in corruption, armed with their AK-47s. Meaning that when they leave the police force, they don't have money, they find their guns and become armed robbers. That is what you have when you have the federal this in everywhere. You have to have police force. There's nothing wrong with it. State police force. Even if you can't have state police force, have them called to geopolitical zones so that the governor of a state doesn't become the overbearing boss of the police in their own state.
And if that does not happen as soon as possible?
I don't give timetables to people who have no control over. I'm not giving timetables when it will happen because it may never happen.
And if it doesn't happen?
People will face whatever the consequences are ultimately. That's what will happen.
We might get to your turn to Israel?
We might get to anything. There is nothing to be ruled out or ruled in any political society. Did you believe that Donald Trump will organize the overthrow of a properly conducted election in a democracy that has lasted for hundreds of years? There's nothing impossible in any society. Did you know that in Kenya, people after fighting the Mau Mau War will revolt against this man over increased taxes? They were claiming they were going forward. So there's nothing, and even in this country, they say tribalism doesn't prevent mass action against impudent or arbitrary authority. And because A is A today, does not mean that A will remain A tomorrow, or next tomorrow, or next week. Change is part of politics.
As we round up this interview, I have not mentioned one name.
Yes.
And that name is important when you are reeling out the historical account of Nigeria. Nnamdi Azikiwe. We've not mentioned him in this talk.
Mm-hmm.
He was not around when the boys struck in January 1966. He was away. He left Nigeria in October. During the war, some felt he wasn't really with the Igbo people. So some have tagged him as saboteur. Let's round off with Azikiwe. What is your perspective of that Nigerian who can be described as one of the founding fathers of this country?
Azikiwe cannot be described as one of the founding fathers. Azikiwe is one of the founding fathers. Let us put it in a more directive tone instead of it can be described. It gives spaces for doubt. He was one of the founding fathers of this society. He fought for this country's independence. He used the media. He had a media empire. He had a newspaper in Lagos, in what?
Okay, my wonderful people, and I don't hear the whole story, the way how the thing take be. The last story where they want to talk, or the way they are talking about, is the Nnamdi Azikiwe, which I know that most of you out there wouldn't like to hear that story, even me myself, because I see Nnamdi Azikiwe as another Ife Juna that turned against the Igbos. So we could have gotten Biafra if not him running to African Union, OAU, Organization of African Union, to tell them to declare the war, no victor, no vanquish. But whichever way it is, my dear brothers and sisters, and I don't hear how the history takes start, and I don't hear how our people betrayed their own people, and also how we handed over our loving and peaceful country down to killers, murderers, all in the name of Fulani. You want to take everybody as one. Anyway, the people where you don't take as one, how far, where have they landed you? That is the people who are treating you like trash now, who are doing everything humanly possible to make sure they wipe you from the surface of this age. Anyway, now here we go take a break. Like, share, comment, and make sure you keep subscribing to this channel for more interesting videos coming your way. I'll be right back. Kemesiano.